Hello and welcome to another episode of Newsmakers. Today, I'll be speaking to a person who's holding on to her roots, or the Goan roots especially, while she's away, almost 7 seas away in USA, Canada. And I have with me, that is none other than Velrose Pereira, a Goan singer, a songwriter, a musician, an actor. She has acting in her blood, but she has taken music to a next level, and she has so much of fan following that I'll tell you a story how I met Velrose. First of all, is that I went to a coffee shop in Goa itself to sip a coffee, and I see Velrose sitting there. Eventually, she happened to know one of my close friend, and she came to hello him. And that is the point of time. The first thing that I helloed her, I greeted her. The first thing that I said to her, I need you in my studio. And on that note, I think Velrose has come on a short notice. Thank you, Velrose, for giving us your time and Goa your time. So first of all, Velrose, how do you feel first of all being in this studio here at a very short notice?
First of all, I'm elevated because of your introduction on me, so thank you. Next thing, I said hello to you first, you didn't say hello to me.
Okay.
But I feel great, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So Velrose, when it comes to, you have been in the Gulf, okay, you moved into Canada, more than your career, you're much more known for your passion, for your love, for, I would say it's a hobby also, which has turned into kind of a career for you now. So what do you have to say on that note?
I think I have been really blessed in terms of the support that I've been getting from the Goans, not only in Goa but as well as all over the world. Even when I'm in Canada, you know, like when I do perform, lately due to COVID it's been online performances, but when I did perform live, there was immense support, and you know, I think the more further you go away from Goa, you can see that the Goans really stick, you know, strongly to their roots, because one of the ways that you can kind of stick to your roots is through music, you know, through having events and shows that go on. And you can see so much of support that pours in from the Goans all over. So I think I'm blessed that way.
Okay, you said you're blessed that way. As you said that you're very connected to Goa, and even after moving out of Goa, people have connected. So do you think that most of these artists who are abroad, if you go to see, most of such artists are only recognized, or people want to see who's doing what when they are abroad? And what about the artists who are, would you like to comment on the artists in Goa as well?
100%. I think we must give a lot of credit to the artists that are in Goa, because it's definitely not easy to, you know, most of the artists that are here, their bread and butter comes from making a living through theatre, through full-time music. And I think we must kind of give them the credit, because it is not easy. My dad, he is now finally following his passion. His name is Aves. He's a theatrist, and you know, I see him leave home at 3 in the afternoon and he comes back at like 3 in the morning. So it's almost 12 hours of shift. But I can see that there's a passion in him, you know. So I think, like him, there are so many other artists in Goa who put in their, you know, sweat and effort into, you know, not just keeping Konkani and keeping our Goan music alive, but as well as, you know, sustaining through it. So I think that there's a lot of recognition that's deserved.
Okay, now coming back to Velrose history. I will say Velrose history. At the age of 7, she entered into this field of art, music, cultural activities. I want to know how at this such an early age, like some people, like as a kid, even me, I was not aware of what's going to happen next. But how did you enter into this at such an early age?
First of all, I think you've done an incredible amount of research, because 7, that's a spot on age. Yes. I think when I was 7, my first performance was with my dad on Dudishan, because my dad was part of Dudishan and he would sing at Dudishan, and I was a very inquisitive child. I always wanted to know what's happening, and you know, I always wanted to be involved. So I think because of that, my dad took me along with him, and I did my first song, which was called So With Goa. And then after that, I kind of went on to perform live with him, which was a complete disaster. But I think that criticism kind of helped me, you know, kind of just better myself.
I think I was supposed to ask you something, but when you say criticism,
Yeah.
I want to know what were the difficulties that you faced when you received such criticism?
You know, I think I must give a lot of credits to my father because he is the one who has made me understand that taking criticism as a fertile is very, very important. It's quintessential part of your growth. And I think more than compliments, I appreciate when someone criticizes me.
Yes.
Because that gives me room for growth. You know, whenever I finish shows, I always go to my senior artists, I go to senior musicians, and I always ask them, how did I do? You know, I want your honest opinion. Apart from the compliments, you know, how did I actually do? Where did I go wrong? And I think that's where you can learn and grow, you know, and grow your musicianship. So, yeah.
Would you like to say that you were born to be an actor and artist?
I think we are born with nothing. Who we become is solely based on the environment that we live in, as well as the effort and the hard work that we put into it. Yes, I guess to a certain extent, I would agree to a point where talent is something that is God-given. But having said that, I know there are incredible artists there who have made it big, but it's solely because of the hard work that they have put into it.
Okay. I want to ask you, who has been your greatest inspiration when it comes to music and acting?
My father. He's been my biggest support. I think I've seen him fight, literally, not like fight, but literally like, you know, step up and protect me in terms of when, you know, I told my family, friends, you know, people, acquaintances that I will be going to Canada to pursue my theatre degree at York University, and he was someone who really supported me throughout, and that man has fought for me. So it's definitely my father.
I can sense that you're very attached to your family and especially your father, but how was it leaving them behind and moving ahead?
My mom, to be honest, she I think had her fair share of struggles, more than my dad. My dad he's someone who is more practical. My mom is more emotional, so they balance each other out. But my mom, she was the one who went through a lot, including my sister, because we've always been very close. We had a huge age difference, about 7.5 to 8 years, and when I left I was 17. She was about 9.5 to 10 years old. So I left her at a very young age, so it was hard.
Okay, moving on with when it comes to your different songs, different acting, music videos, I want to know, when it comes to shoot, what is the difference that you find when you shoot in Goa and when you shoot in Canada out there?
If it's a Konkani song, I think shooting in Goa is better because you have that Goan feel. You know, you have that Goan spirit out there. In Canada, it's more, they are more proper in their ways. You know, they are more, I wouldn't say professional, because I feel like both ways they're professional. Yes, obviously we have a Goan timings that we work with. When we say 9 o'clock, we come by 10.
You have noticed that today also.
And but I think that the main difference is definitely the locations. We are different worlds apart almost, you know. But it's definitely also another thing with the timing. But the spirit, I believe, is the same. Yeah.
I think before we could start this shoot, we had a discussion outside that you know almost 4 instruments to play. Am I right?
Oh my gosh, you listen to me.
Yeah, 4 instruments. From that, because the trumpet is one of the instrument that has gained a lot of popularity to you. So I want to know why a trumpet, because it's very rarely you see women into this playing this instrument. So how? I want to know how and why.
I think you answered my question. Like you said, very rarely we see women play the trumpet. My dad again, I go back to my dad because he has a huge role to play here. He's always been that kind of person who said, you know what, tu chodo zala kis jata, chedo chodo ekut jata. You know, if a guy can do it, why can a girl not do it? And I think that's where he pushed me to initially take the trumpet up. Then when I was in school in Oman, I took up the trumpet, and I took it up because I realized I've always been a very forward-thinking little girl as well. You know, I always
Are you focused?
Am I?
Are you focused in whatever you think, or when you say you're forward thinking?
Yeah.
So are you focused in what you think?
What do you think?
Looking at your success, yes.
I am. I think you have to be, and even for you, you're so successful in your journalism, you have to be focused, right?
Yeah.
I am, and I think it's very important, and I'm sure you can agree with this, to think 10 steps ahead, you know? Because you have to see where there is a niche market.
Yes.
And I did see that there was a niche market for women trumpeters, for women to, you know, be able to, we have a gift, the gift of beauty, the gift of stage presence, you know, even men do.
Yes.
And I think to kind of just evolve and just grow in that. So I definitely did see a spark in trumpet for women.
How was the response when it comes, like in COVID, to even I have personally seen your videos on Facebook, especially your live videos as well.
Did you like it?
Yes, I liked it. That's why you are here. That's why you're here today. So my question to you is that how was it challenging when it comes to COVID? Like, I think you gained much more popularity in COVID time, so it won't be challenging. It was a plus point for you, but how was it challenging to come? Because it's very different. A live performance is different because you get much more energy looking at the crowd, the support, the fan following. But in COVID times, I remember when me telling the news just front of a box. But same it was for you, just front of a mobile phone or a camera. So how was it for you during that point of time?
To be honest, I was doing live shows in Canada before COVID. But I realized that there was so much of improvement that was needed. Even now, I have a lot of improvement that I need in my trumpet. But I think back then, I don't think I was grounded enough to understand. I think COVID really helped me. It was a challenge because I was spending a lot of time by myself. My family was not with me. I was away from Goa for almost a year and a half. I've always come back within a year because I miss my family. So that was challenging. You know, you had to go through a lot of your self-struggles and to understand. But I think on the brighter side, I think that really helped me kind of just realize who I am as a person, what I want in life, you know, understand my showmanship and what I can do as a musician, and work a lot hard, you know, put in the effort. And I'm also very shy as a person. I don't know if you can tell.
No, I don't think so.
I have learned to embrace it.
So.
I have learned to embrace it.
On a personal note, though, I don't think so. But moving ahead, what makes the Tiyat and culture unique when it comes to other form of theatre?
Tiyat is unique to Goa. You know, we have in Marathi, we have theatre, I don't know how to say it in Marathi, but we have theatres for different regions of India, even across the world. But Tiyat is so unique to Goa. It represents Goa. It represents a Goan artist. So, yeah.
But have you been any part of any Tiyat in the past, or are you planning to be a part?
I have in the past. Actually, you know, it's funny because I was 16 years old and that was my first ever like live theater acting play that I did was with Prince Jacob. There was a theater play called Pap Tujhe Prachit Moje. I did this autistic child and I was so surprised. Like, I actually gained a lot of love from people. You know, I remember walking in Panjim with my mom and people would be like, "Te chodo no te Jacobok nasta pe." And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the attention. So, and then funny enough, my first interview was at Herald with, was that, I think I was telling that to you. Pio, yes, Pio Estevam. And I think that's when I kind of got the taste of, you know, being loved by the audience members, and that's how I pursued theatre degree at York University in Canada.
This is a straight question. It will be like yes or no. What motivates you, fans or music?
Both.
You have to give me one. I know it's a very tricky question. Or you can give a diplomatic answer also.
I would say music because
it connects with the audience.
Yeah, and when I didn't have nobody's support except my father's and God's, I had my music to fall back to. When I was brokenhearted, I had my music to fall back to. So,
on a similar note, I want to ask you. It's a sub question to this.
Yeah.
What is the excitement that? How is it exciting to tell a story through music?
Very exciting. I think I always, my dad always tells me, he says, make sure that, you know, you do realize that as musicians, as singer-songwriters, you have the ability to put in the final word. You know, so I think it gives me immense pleasure when I do write songs. When I do, I've seen my dad write songs on issues that happen in Goa.
Yeah.
You know, he does have a political touch. If you check on his YouTube,
Every theatre has it.
you know, but I think he does that because he sees that it's required. You know, and that's how we give back to the community as musicians. So
you said that you have to give back. You always want to give back for the community, but you have performed in India, then in the Middle East, in North America. Which was your favorite location and why? Or if you can answer that also, and how was it performing in these 3 continents?
I think my most favorite was one I did 2 weeks back at Kor Kanta Talegaon. Even at Olim, actually. I did one last week at Olim. Kor Kanta, because I think that bloomed a friendship between my father and Sir Robert Cabral. He was the organizer of the show, and I think with Olim, I bloomed a friendship with Lulu Fortes, you know, and the entire team of Olim show. And I think for me, the main thing is when you do perform, you have to have that connection. You know, you have to enjoy the people you work with, and if you can, then why not? So, yeah.
Now, you know, during the COVID time, as you gained a lot of popularity during the COVID time, but there was also an impact on the music business.
Yeah.
So, and your dad also must be connected. He will be connected to that. So, how was it? What was the impact that you faced? Because there were several videos also that were deleted later. Or they had an auto delete option, or some got copyright issues. So, did you face such kind of issues during the COVID time?
To a certain extent, no, because I did mainly online videos, but I would just going back with, like you mentioned, my dad. He was in Goa when COVID hit. You know, the wave that hit last year, and I could see that he was really dying to be on stage. He was, you know, he was eager, because when you're an artist, you know, like for you, journalism, you want to do something that you truly love.
Exactly.
You know, and when you see, being in front of a camera with no one in the room is one thing, but it's another thing when you're in front of people, like you're
and the cameras
performing.
are at the side, but you can see the audience
Exactly. It's beyond words. So I think that was, mentally we all were affected.
Okay. Now this will be kind of, I'm entering your privacy.
Okay.
But in reality, we know that you're very active, very social. But in reality, how is Velrose? Viewers want to know who is Velrose in reality, because everyone has seen the glamour, the style, the compassion, the optimistic Velrose.
Yeah.
But who is Velrose in reality when she is without any camera in front of her, without 100 people, without any people looking at her? When I would say in your bedroom or in your room inside, in your clothes room,
or in Santa Steve, where I'm from.
Yes.
I think I'm I do have my style. I enjoy dressing up, so that's always going to be there. But I think I'm very family oriented. For me, my father, my mother, my sister, my 3 dogs, they mean the world to me. I like to be a very Goan girl. I try to speak Konkani as much as I'm there. You know, when someone speaks to me in English, now we're doing an English interview, but usually when I'm in person, I like to speak Konkani, because I feel like, I don't know, I have that in me that I want to be a Goan girl. You know, I'm also very sensitive, but I don't show that very much, because I'd like to portray myself as, yes, sensitivity is not weakness, you know, vulnerability is strength, but I like to portray myself as someone who's a strong woman, go-getter. So I think, yes, that's basically me. I'm also, believe it or not, I go to church not every day, but every time I can with my dad. I live a very simple life in Santa Steve, and I enjoy that. You know, that's me.
So simplicity is the first thing for you, and family.
Yes.
Okay. Now, moving on when it comes to your projects, to your music, what is that thing that you are working on presently, which would you like to share on it? Or your plan? I know one plan.
Yes.
But besides that other plan, if there is something.
There are a few songs that I'm working on. There are in talks, but when I say in talks, like I'm in writing, but there are so many songs that I write and I crumble it and throw it away. Because it's in the moment that you feel it, the next moment you don't. You know, but one project that you did mention that I would like to talk about is I am working on a song on the trumpet, and I won't mention the song's name because we will see it eventually.
Yes.
And I'm really honored to be working with two of Goa's very popular footballers, Mandar and
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
And I really look forward to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we are coming almost to an end now, but moving ahead, I want to know how can our viewers and readers as well stay connected to you in future?
PayPal. I'm just joking. Okay, in all seriousness, you can stay connected. You can stay connected to me via Facebook. I have my Facebook, my page, as well as on my YouTube. Yeah, because I do have a YouTube page that I run, and I try to post every time I can.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So now when you travel, you you have come, I think almost 4 weeks back or 3 weeks back.
3 weeks back.
Yes, 3 weeks back. My research is good. Okay, 3 weeks back you're in Goa. So how was the response? Especially like, I definitely people must have known you on the airport itself. Some few airport this and all. So how was the response when you came back to Sant Estevam after almost 1.5, 2 years?
In Sant Estevam, you know, it's very humbling for me when I go to Sant Estevam because, and it's also good in a way because I think people have watched me grow there. So there's no like, oh my gosh, like, you know, Velrose and all. So I think in Sant Estevam I'm very humbled. When I do go for shows, however, it really brings me happiness because there'll be little girls that will come to me and they'll be like, can we take a picture with you? Some of them will be like, oh, I thought you would be such a snob, you know. And I'm like, no. So I think it's a bit of humbling as well as being grateful for people actually, you know, coming to you and being like, can we take pictures? Yesterday there was a girl who took an autograph on her shirt. And I was just like,
wow.
I was flattered. So, but yeah, it's been nice.
Okay, how do you take fame for you?
I enjoy the attention because I enjoy being in front of the cameras. I enjoy when people appreciate me for my music, you know, for the person that I am. Most of them don't really know me too personal because it's all on cameras. And a lot of times when people appreciate my parents, because I really enjoy when, you know, I get to hear from my parents, not very often, that they are proud of me, you know. So I think that to me is fame. And yeah, and if I can get Goa's name and Goa's music forward, that to me will be that fame.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you're given a chance to act in movies, what will be your response to it?
Definitely. I love to be in front of the camera. Why not?
Will it be Goan movies, Bollywood, or kind of maybe in Toronto, any kind of cultural event or theater over there? So what will be your preference?
As long as the script is good and the role is challenging, I'll take it.
Okay. The last question to you will be that, what will be Velrose Pereira's message for all her fans and all Goans and all those who are watching you right now?
The message, ironic because I'll be speaking in English, but their interview is in English. But having said that,
you can give in English and then give in Konkani as well.
So that's Konkani my basule. Fui asat tumi sansarak tamri basun jao. Try kora tulopak. Next thing, make sure you're humble. Stay true to yourself. Be yourself. One thing that I've learned moving from the Middle East to Canada is to be true to who you are as a person. You know, if you are a certain way, be that way. You don't need to fit in a group. Why fit in when you can stand out? You know, like Priyanka Chopra says, break the glass ceiling. Yeah. So why be someone else when you can be yourself? And humility is key. whenever the higher you go, make sure you stay humble. Make sure you respect everyone equally, and make sure to love yourself. That's it.
I think loving yourself and loving all around you, I think on that note I come to an end of this beautiful episode. I wish I could go on and on, and she knows that I can go on and on, but I think we'll save it up for next time when we meet next week, when we are doing, as she mentioned, about a project that she's doing. I think on that note we come to an end of this beautiful episode. Thank you, Velrose, for your time, and
thank you for having me.
Yes, last minute also, last minute short notice also coming here in our studios. Thank you so much. I will see you next week with another episode with another super talented person or another newsmaker of Goa. And this is Clinton D'Souza signing off only on Herald TV.